Alright, so in this video, we're going to take a closer look at how I made my backpack, so stay tuned. Alright, so welcome back to Outdoors with Chris. We're indoors today. We get a lot of questions on the Hammock forums about my backpack, so I figured I'd make a video and just show some of the options of my backpack, some of the things I use to make it, and how I put it together. So one of the #1 reasons you ever switch a backpack or any kind of gear is the quest to get a lighter pack. When I weighed the pack that I was using, which is a High Sierra Long Trail 90 liter, my first pack, it weighed in at 6 pounds. And I was just looking at options and noticed like the ULA Circuit and the Ohm, they're all around 2 pounds. So I knew if I could switch that something that option, I could shave pretty much 4 pounds off of my pack weight just in the backpack. I just couldn't come to spending $300 just yet on a backpack. But I did some looking around on some of the make your own gear sites. The Hammock Camping group on Facebook has a make your own gear section. It's a totally different page. And I was doing some looking on there, and a guy by the name of Billy Gray posted a backpack that just looked great. I'll show a picture right here. Anyways, I asked him to share his parts list because what he was making matched really close with what I was wanting to make. He made a square bottom. I decided to go with a round bottom. So some of the just straight off features, of course, I've got 2 side pockets on either side. I have a shovel pocket on the front side, and then of course a rounded bottom. I went with this design of hip belt because the High Sierra I was using had the ones that you kind of pull out. I like the idea of some that I pull into one another. Makes them a little easier to adjust. I went with my back panel on the exterior of the pack, so it's a kind of a separate piece that I constructed and then sewed to the back panel, and the foam is actually inside. So taking the hip belt off, you can see the way that it connects to the backpack is with Velcro on both the front side and the back side. And it's kind of tough to see, but inside right here on the actual back panel of the backpack, I've got Velcro here, and then on this side I've got Velcro as well. And so both sides connect securely to the hip belt and allow it to transfer the weight to the frames. Let me show you what my frames are. So this is the inside of the back panel, and I've got my load lifter straps that actually come through right here where the top collar section meets, and they come through and actually Velcro onto where my frame stays are at. And so what I'm using for my frame stays are fiberglass rods that actually came from reflectors that you just buy from Home Depot for like $1 or $2 depending on where you're at. So I'll slide this frame stay in, you can see where it goes. So the frame stay just goes down that channel right there, feet into the bottom, and then the Velcro comes over and allows the top of the pack's weight to transfer straight down to where the hip belt's at. So you can see that down in there. So what I've done is flip the backpack inside out so you can see what that back panel looks like and what the frame stays look like. So you can see I put a slight angle on them so they can run up to the load lifters here and then come to kind of a center point in the middle of the back. So these strips were the last things that I put on, with the exception of when I sewed my shoulder straps up to the top. And you see, for construction purposes, that's why I left a gap in the channels so I could sew those stitches without going through the channels that I make for my frame supports. So these frame supports are sewn through the Velcro that I have on the other side of here that meshes together to grab the hip belt. And then just a side note while I'm in here, you can see I bias taped all the seams inside the backpack so that protects the hems. Another thing you might notice is that my back panel is 2 different fabrics. So I got the main color here, but I wanted the heavier black fabric going around the bottom side. So I've shoved a few things inside the backpack just to make it a little easier to show you some of these other features. So for my side panels, I do have some compression points. See, I've got this grow gain with these loops sewed on them. A little close up of that. Then also got where my top part of the pack connects to the side and some pull straps there, so you can get a little bit of compression off the top as well. One of the more challenging parts for me was actually sewing this radius here, but it turned out to be a lot easier than what I thought it was going to be. You just let the sewing machine do the work. I do have some loops for putting my trekking poles on, as well as some Velcro straps up here up top. And so that gets to the shoulder straps. These were a little bit more challenging for me as well. And the most challenging part was actually getting the foam into the shoulder strap once I'd made them. So the outside is the thicker black material, and then the back side is actually the spacer mesh. So here's how I did my sternum straps. You see I just did a loop all the way around the strap. That way give it a little more support onto the strap rather than pulling on this strap that runs all the way up here. I don't know if you can see this or not, but one of the other things I did that wasn't necessarily in my plans, but as I was going along to strengthen it, I actually ran the same strapping material that I used for my hip belt across the width of the back panel to give an attachment point for my shoulder straps as well as for my carrying handle. Unfortunately, I didn't do any filming during the construction of my backpack, but what I'll do is at the end of the video, I'll put a little slideshow of the pictures throughout the process. That'll give you kind of an idea of how it went together, how I assembled the parts. But real quick, I'll talk about my components. The thicker black material that I use is the 420D Robic that I got from Ripstop by the Roll. It's been performing great. My olive yellow color is a Hyper D 300 fabric, also from Ripstop by the Roll. The rest of the stuff I got pretty much from Quest Outfitters, which was suggested by Billy Gray, which is where he sourced most of his materials. So from them I got some spacer mesh, the pocket mesh, which you can see I've got tons of that left over. It's nice and stretchy. And all of the hardware, which I don't have excess to show you for that because it's all on the pack. So let me show you what my plans looked like. So I've got those here in just a nice black binder. This is my side panel design. I believe this was a rough drawing of what I wanted my shoulder straps to look like with a few key measurements for when I was going to make out my templates. Here's my side pockets. The one thing I didn't do a design drawing for was actually the bottom of the side, but I'll show you that in just a second with the templates. Here's my design for the back panel. And so right here is the point at which it switched over from the olive yellow material, and then this bottom part here was black, the 420D fabric. Now here's a drawing of my hip belt, and I was wrong. I think the other one was actually my design drawing. This was my idea drawing for the shoulder strap. Here's my front panel with my attachment points marked out. These are for the bungees that go on the outside that crisscross, and then these two right here are the Velcro straps. These two are the bottom loops. And these were some early stage drawings. I was getting ready for the side panel and the front panel, and then the side pockets as well. You can see those down there. Here's the drawing for my top collar. It was the longest piece that I had to cut because it circled all the way around the pack with one single seam there. And I ran the top longer than the bottom. And I want to say when I went to make the pack, I actually didn't make that so drastic. I think I stretched this bottom part out just a little bit, or draw this top part in a little bit just during the build process. And just here's some general sketches. Of course, I had a checklist as I was making all my templates. And here's how I planned out my interior channels for the frame stays. I wound up on this bottom section, making it go all the way down. And then here's a layout of how I wanted my Velcro to go. I actually wound up doing vertical instead of the horizontal. Worked out just fine. Now I'll just cycle through some of my templates. And for template material, I just use cardboard paper from Home Depot. Here's my shoulder strap template. This is my template for the front pocket. It was made wide so that I could pleat it, and so it'd have room to expand on the outside of the pack. Here are the templates for my side pockets, and they actually were reversible. So the bottom pocket, believe it or not, I used a frying pan to get that arch. Just so happened I had a frying pan with just the right radius for it. And then the side panel pocket is reversible for right and left. Here's my side panel template with the rounded bottom, and this works as a left side template and the right side template, so I didn't have to make two templates. I knew they were going to be exactly the same. Here's the part of my back panel that was black material. And here's the top part of the back panel, which is the green material, the olive yellow. Here's my front panel template. And then this is the panel for the spacer mesh that houses my foam pad. And all the foam that's in my backpack is just 3/8 foam that you can buy, make sleeping pads out of or whatever. And then to put it all together, I just used my Kenmore sewing machine that I had at the time. And the only part it really struggled through was getting through that spacer mesh and the foam, not only the shoulder straps but also the hip belt. But I made it through it. I'm actually looking forward to getting to use this Singer on something. I picked it up at a flea market for about 20 bucks, and it punches through stuff like it's nobody's business. Really looking forward to using that thing. Here, I'll show you some of the pictures throughout my build process real quick. Well, I hope that answers some of the questions everybody was having about my pack. If you got any more questions, comment. Please like and subscribe so you can keep up with the channel. Thanks for watching. Have a good hike.